Wondra sits in a jail cell. He is back in Idaho, accused of killing young Michael Vaughan.
You're pure evil. You have no heart. You have no soul.
Wondra is accused of murdering her then 5-year-old son in 2021. Would you think you'll ever get the answer as to why?
No, because there is no answer to why. Why would somebody hurt an innocent little boy? What answer could you give? What answer could you possibly give? How scared was he? Did he ask for me? Did he ask for Tyler?
Stacey Wondra has been charged with first-degree murder and second-degree kidnapping and destruction of evidence.
Michael "Monkey" Vaughan went missing from his Fruitland neighborhood on July 27, 2021.
This is a criminal investigation.
Now, more than 4 years later, in newly unsealed court documents, Fruitland police named 4 people they believed are involved in Michael's murder. Those 4 names are ones we've heard before.
This is Sarah Wondra. This is Sarah's husband, Stacey Wondra. This is Brandon Shurtliff, Adrian Lucien.
As for what these 4 people have in common, they were all staying at the Wondras' home when Michael disappeared in 2021. That's just half a mile from Michael's home where he was last seen. In the PCA, police pointed to video evidence they say showing Shurtliff walking around the neighborhood. They say Shurtliff helped move Michael's body in a duffel bag temporarily to his mom's home in Kuna before standing guard as they buried him in the Wondras' Fruitland backyard. Stacey Wondra told police the 4 hoped to sell Michael for $10,000 each. He says the idea came from Adrian Lucien. Idaho News 6 is now learning Lucien was arrested and released in Indiana in October for a traffic-related misdemeanor. Sarah Wondra is currently serving time in the Idaho State Prison System for unrelated charges. She's eligible for parole in early 2026.
Karen, is there any connection between the Vaughan family and the home where police had been searching?
No, we've heard this more than once from the family representatives and from the police department that there is no connection between the Vaughan family and the home where this search took place.
As you know, from the time Michael went missing, this has been an all-hands-on-deck investigation, and it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughan could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland. As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wondra, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement. The following day, the Fruitland Police Department, joined by the Idaho State Police, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, the Fruitland Fire Department, and the Fruitland Public Works Department, began a very methodical excavation of the backyard of the Wondras' home. During that excavation process, the Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue, Mountain States detection dogs deployed multiple certified human remains detection dogs on the property, all of them alerting to the presence of human remains. Ground penetrating radar was also used and deployed, detecting anomalies in the backyard. We completed the excavation of the entire backyard and removed over 250 yards of dirt. Prior to backfilling the yard, the dirt was meticulously sifted for any potential human remains. We did not find Michael's remains. Although the remains of Michael Vaughan were not recovered, we strongly believe, based on evidence, that Michael was abducted and is deceased, and that his remains were buried and later moved from the property. As of today, the whereabouts of his remains are unknown. However, the investigation is active, fluid, and ongoing. Once the excavation was complete, we conducted a thorough search of the Wondras' residence. The search was productive, and additional investigative evidence was recovered and is currently being processed.
An hour's worth of body camera footage showing Stacey Wondra FaceTiming with detectives and directing to where Monkey's body was buried in his backyard.
It's like right under that mound area.
It's right under the mound, about where at compared to the
trees? A little, like, right to the right of the trees area. It should be, it should be a garbage bag.
Okay, what color is the garbage bag?
It would either be white or black. We only have two colors.
Is the duct tape still going to be over his mouth?
It should be.
Okay.
I didn't watch take them off.
Okay.
So you should have everything intact as it was.
He claims he watched the burial happen.
Okay, how far down is Michael?
I don't know how far she actually dug.
And the she he's referring to, that's his wife Sarah, another suspect in the case. Stacey says Adrian, a third suspect, was also there for the burial.
Out of 300 homes, police say canines tracked Michael's scent to the home where Stacey, his wife Sarah, and their two roommates Brandon Shurtliff and Adrian Lucian lived.
As Joe mentioned, a newly released probable cause affidavit filed in June lays out the interviews following Michael's disappearance. Again, during these initial searches, police say canines tracked Michael's scent to the fence line of the home where Stacey Wondra, his wife Sarah, and their two roommates, Brandon Shurtliff and Adrian Lucian, lived. All four of those individuals have been named people of interest in Michael's disappearance. One of Michael's neighbors told police they saw Michael riding a bike outside of the Wondra's home the day that he disappeared. Another neighbor said they saw that same tricycle at the Wondra's home during a garage sale months before Michael disappeared. The Wondras initially denied any involvement, but then in November of 2022, Stacey asked to meet with investigators. The PCA states Stacey claims he was home the night Michael was allegedly abducted and saw Sarah carrying Michael into the house. Stacey allegedly told police it was Adrian's idea to take a child to sell for money, and they would get a $10,000 cut. Stacey claims Sarah told everyone to, quote, follow her lead. Stacey told investigators they took him to Brandon's mother's home in Kuna that night, where they left Michael overnight. Stacey claims the other three returned to Brandon's mom's house the next day and brought Michael back to the Wandra's home in Fruitland. Stacey told police Michael was not alive, and Sarah and Adrian buried him in the Wandra's backyard. 2 days after Stacey's interview with police, they executed a search warrant and excavated the Wandra's backyard. The affidavit says cadaver dogs alerted to the same area where Stacey told detectives Michael's body was buried, but to this day, Michael has not been found.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It is April 2nd, 2026. Welcome to Missing PNW Crimes Revisited. So glad to see you all here. Thank you so much for coming in, supporting the Vaughan family, and for being a part of Monkey's Army and supporting Michael Joseph Vaughan. So good to see everybody. Let's check out who's here. We got Hair Curlers in Crime. Thank you so much for coming in. We've got Purple in the house. Thank you so much for coming in. Dawn is here. Baby Kisses is here. Deedles is here. Thank you guys all for coming in. Missing persons around the world. Good to see you, Sarah. Yankee Kyle. Thank you for putting that up, Sarah. I really appreciate you. Please thank all of my moderators for doing such a great job here at Missing PNW. I couldn't do this without them. Clever Phase is in the house. Thank you so much for coming in. Ember is here. Darzilla, thank you guys for coming. Amy, Darlene. Toasters in the house. It's great to see everybody here. Country Cuz, good to see you, hun. And let's see, Olive is here. All in the Tanks is here. Thank you guys all for coming. It's so great to see everybody today. We're going to finish going over some more of Stacey Wondra's confessions from November of 2022 after he got a hold of detectives on November 5th and 10th to talk to detectives to tell them about information he had on the Michael Vaughan case. He was the one who contacted detectives so that he could make a deal with them. Michael Joseph Vaughan was abducted July 27th of 2021. 4 people have been named suspects in Michael's case: Stacey Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Adrian Lucien, and Brandon Shurtliff. Stacey Wondra will be going to trial. He does have a district court hearing tomorrow at 3:30, and Purple Phoenix on the round table will be going over all of the information for tomorrow's hearing. So please join Purple and Wendy over at the round table tomorrow evening if you guys would like to find out what happened at the hearing. I won't be in town. Matter of fact, I am sure that I will be on the road driving up to my daughter's house. So I really appreciate Purple for covering that. And if there's any really, really good information, say like Stacey decides to plead guilty or decides to take a plea deal because he knows where Michael is. We're not sure if he does or not. Definitely we'll be talking about that next week after I get home from vacation. And also next week, please join me. I'll be doing a live on Kyron Horman because a new news clip was put out, a little 20-minute video, and I want to talk about Kyron for a little bit next week. But right now, we're talking about Michael Joseph Vaughan, abducted from Fruitland, Idaho, in his neighborhood, July 27th of 2021. Sarah Wondra will be arrested in October of 2026 after she's released for prison. And Stacey and Sarah both going to be charged, and Stacey has been charged with first-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and destruction of evidence. Adrian Lucien and Brandon Shurtliff are still free, and we know that law enforcement has a plan, and their plan right now is to not have all 4 suspects in jail because they will have to have a speedy trial. They will all have to have attorneys. It costs a lot of money. Fruitland is a very, very small town, and they just don't have the money and the means to be able to charge all 4 suspects at the same time. Brandon Shurtliff has been hiding under a rock since he came out and decided to bully BRANDI Vaughan on her Facebook and myself here in the comment section at Missing PNW. Adrian Lucien has been talking in messages to people, and these suspects, all of them, have talked about having knowledge in Michael Vaughan's abduction and murder, and they can't have knowledge if they weren't there. That's why they are suspects. We're here to fight for justice for Michael, and we would like it if other people would also help us fight by calling the tip line. If you have any information about Michael Vaughan's abduction or murder, please call 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Let law enforcement decide if your tip is credible, and, you know, Maybe you think that what you have heard or what you know is a rumor, but it actually could be something really important. And that's why you need to turn it into a tip line. You can remain anonymous. And if any information that you give leads to where Michael Vaughan is now, you can get a reward for over $50,000. Brandon Shurtliff knows exactly where Michael Vaughan is, and he's a coward for not coming forward and giving the Vaughan family back their son, their brother, their grandson, their nephew. He thinks that he's just going to run and hide, and that's just not going to work. Law enforcement will be arresting Brandon and will be arresting Adrian Lucien. The district attorney said that everyone will be charged. And we want justice for Michael. Again, that tip line phone number is 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. We want Monkey home. We want the Vaughan family to be able to bring him home and put him to rest. And it's sad that that's the way that he is coming home. BRANDI and Tyler were very hopeful in the beginning that Michael was going to be coming home alive. And sadly, he was buried in the Wondra's backyard and then later moved to an unknown location. Lori, hello. Good to see you. Under Your Scars is here. Thank you so much for joining tonight. I really appreciate all the new people coming in. I'd love to have you here. Renee is also here. Good to see you. Truth to Light is here. Diana. Thank you guys all so much for coming in. Brandy's here. Good to see you, Mama. For those that don't know, BRANDI is Michael Vaughan's mother. She says, good evening, Sammy. Good evening, everyone. I'm here listening, a bit busy. I love you all very much. Thank you for being here and your continued support for Monkey. Monkey's Army may ask themselves all the time, what can I do to help? You can just share. Whether it's a flyer of Michael, whether you're sharing information about these suspects, you can even come over to Michael Vaughan Case Revisited Facebook group, where I do put a lot of information from my lives, court documents, pictures, make reels and all kinds of other stuff. And I love putting it up over there because I do not mind at all creators using any of my information, even using lives that I do on Michael Vaughan or Kyron Horman. So anybody that wants to go over the information I would appreciate it. It brings awareness to the kids. Avi, thank you so much, honey, for coming in. I do have a plan. After going over the entire preliminary hearing, I'm going to take some time to download everything from the preliminary hearing into a playlist here on my channel. I think altogether there's 17 videos from the preliminary hearing. They'll be downloaded in a playlist without commentary for other creators to be able to use, since it's very difficult with as large as these files are. Like one file's like 118 gigabytes. They're huge. It's a lot easier for us to share this information that way, instead of downloading everything to a Google Drive, emailing information every time a creator or somebody wants to go over this information. So I think that's a good way for other creators to go over the information and help bring awareness for Michael. And I've discussed this already with BRANDI, and I think it's the best way to go. Chaos Queen, thank you so much for being here. Marie is here. Thank you guys all for coming in. Michael Vaughan will get justice, and we will be here until he gets that justice, until all 4 suspects are arrested and face trial and go to prison. Excuse me for just one moment. I'm going to close my blinds so I can see this computer. How the heck is it April already, everyone? It's like, it felt like it just was New Year's not very long ago. It's crazy how the time has flown by. And I guess when you're busy doing things, time does fly. I just can't believe it's already April. It's crazy. And then I think the older that I get, the faster time flies by. It's like, slow down. I've got littles. I've got all my grandbabies. I need to watch them slower. Stop growing. Stop going by so fast. Right. So we did have some issues with the captions after the live. I was still having problems with captions, but everything seems to be fixed now, so we can go over this with captions. You might be better off watching it from a laptop to see the captions. Again, I cannot turn up the video. So you're probably going to want to read the captions. And during our last live, I thought the captions said that dress-up clothes were on top of boxes in the garage, when actually Stacey Wondra was talking about the tricycle being on top of boxes in the garage. I had to go back and re-watch because I was very confused. And please understand, when the captions are coming, sometimes people's names get mentioned that aren't really names, or the captions are wrong because the video, even in court, was very hard to hear Stacey Wondra. And I think the caption is just picking up, you know, what it thought Stacey was saying. So if you're hearing names or seeing names in the captions, they're probably not names that are actually involved in the case, because we know that it's just Sarah, Brandon, Adrian, or Sarah, Stacey, Brandon, and Adrian. So moving forward with that, if you see something that doesn't really make sense, it's probably just the captions. Yeah, totally normal under your scars. I agree. I just had so many questions in the chat last time. You know, who's Keith? Who's this? Who's that? What are they even talking about? It's just the captions getting some information wrong is all it is. But we have the rest of the first video to go over, and then we have another video to go over. We still have like 20 minutes left or so in the first one, and then the second one's about an hour and 20 minutes long. We'll try to get through both of them and move along through the night the best way that I can. And yeah, let's see how much information we can pump out tonight. Right. I took this back to about the spot where I started having problems with the captions. We've got Juanita Kelleher, the detective, in here interviewing Stacey Wondra. We have Scott Crimmin, who was also a detective and I believe is now a captain of Fruitland Police. And then we've got Mr. Chris Madonna in the background here. You can barely hear anything Chris says when he talks. He's so soft spoken. So just letting everybody know, turn up your sound and put some earbuds in and watch the captions. Okay, let's get started.
Help create a profile and try to scheme money from people. And that you split the money.
And what was the game of that? What were they doing? doing on the iPad? How, I
With
mean,
the download chat. They downloaded a picture from what, internet or something.
This is about where we paused. He's talking about Adrian, Sarah downloading Snapchat to make fake profiles, to make money, meet up with people for money. And remember, Stacey Wondra tells a different story every 2 to 3 minutes.
Profile, it's a girl. I don't remember who was on it was a picture of a girl.
and what were they doing? Were they, you know, with that photo on the Snapchat?
Well, just offered, or asked sexual favors, we offered sexual favors.
Like what?
Says, I offered you prices around that relationship more prices. You know, really offer prostitution or whatever you call it, you know.
Were they offering locations to meet at for this, or how far in
I don't
depth did you
know
really get?
location wise, it was after, I think it came to after they sent the money.
And how much money did they get?
I think they only, to my knowledge, it's $50. And that was only one time I ever heard about it. But they're good another time for the I just didn't know about it. And Sarah wasn't exactly the most, she wasn't a hot shot.
What was BRANDI doing?
I don't know.
Where were you at?
I think that was either at the job house. But I don't know, I was home.
You don't remember what you're doing?
My activity when I got home, 100% of the time was some lunch. Drinking was good water, sleep, fall asleep on the couch. I mean, falling asleep on the couch was one of the biggest things that I always wanted to do. But also said, you know, it's understanding. That's certainly sleep at when I got home.
Did anybody leave the house?
Not, if I, maybe somebody did, but I was asleep. Sleep or in the house. I hadn't gone out. The lot, there was only a few times that day was from the slush and the taxi break.
Think about it really hard. If anybody left in that time.
He's being asked whether or not anybody left the house. He started to say, I don't know. And then acts like somebody did, but he still doesn't know because he was sleeping. He takes no responsibility at all.
And walk me through what was going on when they went out to me.
said things in the past before, like, this person would do something with actually, but I would ask her, what would do if she would come. So.
Well, keep going. Tell me a little bit more about what's going on at that time.
Just not, I mean, I never heard of something where don't that exactly what they're taking care of the patient that sort of.
What did you do during the time that they were gone?
Pretty sure about this.
This is right around the spot we had problems with the CC or the, captions. I don't know if the captions can't hear the video well or what, but it's not even showing up for when Juanita speaks. So I'm not sure what's going on with the caption, y'all. I'm going to continue to play and the only advice I can give you guys is to turn it up from whatever you're listening from.
I always, when I get bored with this though,
I will try to log out and then go back in though.
as you can tell,
I'm gonna build the video back up, see if that helps. I know I don't want to keep going through this. Come on, video, play for us. Okay, I'm gonna try sharing again. I don't know what the problem is here.
I always, when I get bored with this though, I always just feels high. As you can tell,
So how did you know that Sarah came back? North Door.
But you were waiting from garage door. After I was shut, but it's not slamming. Just like
Okay. And what did you see when you heard that?
just Sarah and you.
Okay. Who was first?
Sarah was the
And what did they do when they came in?
And then we all decide where we're going to go get the car.
Tell me about that conversation.
First, just started up. It was just hard a little bit here, so. After got home, things calmed down. Brandon brought it up. He told us that we would go, we would tell people there's a vehicle, till his vehicle.
What do you mean that when you guys got home and things calmed down?
No, just, we decided to go.
It was kind of relaxed? So when they left, do you know if they actually left the property or if they were outside or if they were in a vehicle, if they walked somewhere? No. And you were shown the. Keys for which vehicle?
She was just a car key, and she had the truck key. So I had the car key.
And you said that she had her purse. What did her purse look like? Where did she grab it from?
She was at the purse.
How do you know she had her purse?
She can't remember.
Oh, okay. So you saw her purse on her when she. And what were they saying when they came in? What was it about?
It was just very vague.
What were they acting like?
So emotional. Like something, I don't know, just something wasn't on. Like something was wrong with
Something was off with you.
Sorry.
Sarah, was there something off with anybody else?
Adrian and I didn't really talk, just because I was kind of put in a position when you really help these people, it's kind of like that. Well, I'm here as well. So I didn't really do much opportunity to have other people on our conversation, which is just our done. But Adrian, Brandon didn't really say much.
So the caption stopped and then they started going, but the captions are from where they stopped at. So you're hearing what they're currently talking about, but the captions are from before. This is the same exact problem we had during the last live. The only thing I can say is you could turn down the sound and just read the captions, or you can try listening to what Stacey's saying. In the courtroom, there was a moment where for almost 45 minutes, when you tried to hear Stacey, you couldn't. And it was because his voice was echoing really bad in the room and the body cam was not picking it up. So I don't want to stop, but I just want to tell you guys, you can either read the caption or try listening to what Stacey is saying. I do not know what's going on or whatever with the captions, but it's not something I can fix. This is the exact same thing that happened last Tuesday.
Just, you always call me fluffy, but stuff like that. I just want to do nothing. I try asking. That's all.
What were they wearing? What were their clothes?
I know somebody was, the most comfortable outfit was usually the t-shirt. It's the leggings, shoes, that was her favorite, whereas the leggings were the same shoe, whatever it is.
But nothing stood out to you that day? What time did they come And how long until you guys left to go get the car?
So the captions are talking about Sarah, Adrian, Brandon leaving, going over to Ontario, and Stacey is talking about how Sarah comes back with her purse and her wallet, had money in her wallet, and this is all just a fluke. It's all just a story. Michael was not sold, even though he's given this story about how he thinks that Michael might have been or something, because we know that they went to Ontario, because in the probable cause affidavit, it talks about Sarah, Adrian, and Brandon leaving the neighborhood and then coming back. And they came back before Michael was ever abducted. So this is just Stacey again, making up another story about seeing Sarah with cash, even though we know Michael wasn't sold. They did all of that before Michael ever came up missing.
Yeah, I know what the times are, but in your memory, when you saw them come in, about how long until you guys left? And during that time, what were they doing after they came in? So what about the duffel bag? So the duffel bag was in the house, tell me about that. Okay. And when did he go and grab it, and what did he do with it? Was the bag full? The duffel bag? What did it look like? Like
Just like a patch, you know. And he took a travel bag for, trip out of state, take a flight. Obviously, it just looked like, act like normal clothes. It looked like a weird emotional or shape.
Okay. And when you guys got in the truck, did anybody talk about anything?
What's that?
When you guys got in the truck, did anybody talk about anything?
There wasn't really much to discuss. I mean, I always used to DJ like I would always sing together or, take a video from the dashboard and whatnot.
Anything different about this trip than any other trip?
It was hot. They were just when it's hot, usually when
what happened when you guys left?
Besides the street or whatever. I had some experience, so I put our experience. From there, I don't know what was going on inside the truck. I just know that I got out with our experience with it. I got in the truck. I was not all out of activity going on. Walk up the sidewalk. And then there was some marching cars.
When you got back in, any other comments or anything that was said? Anything that you thought was strange? Okay. And then what happened on the trip?
Came back out with the same stuff. I also was just doing a clothing store. It's closer. Nothing was really off. But back in the vehicle, so on the same side of the out. Just the turns.
And on the trip, it seems like there's different versions of everything that happened. So what happened on the trip?
So the wording and the captions is actually starting to catch up to what they're saying. I'm really sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't know if it was the download itself to YouTube or what, or maybe it's because of that hollow sound that you hear from the recording, but it is starting to catch up to what they're actually saying now. And all they went through is basically talking about Stacey Wondra and what he saw happen, where people were and what they were doing. And he was talking about not knowing what vehicle that they were driving. Like I said, he has created this story about Sarah, Adrian, and Brandon coming back from Ontario, and you know, Sarah Wondra having cash, and then just basically talking about what was going on in the house. Nothing of real value, but the caption is starting to catch up with the video. I'm sorry, you guys. There's just nothing I can do about it from my end.
Imagine after you took the car, you were heading back.
So we had to do the U-turn, pull back around the car. And just ended up double knot, where it snapped off. And I got back in, and Sarah said that she would be, and that's probably be a little more than just be. And so she opened both the passenger side door, the rear passenger side door, so she could go in the bathroom, so she got some rest. She would be a lot of pieces of stuff behind her.
And so Sarah was driving? Okay. Does Sarah drive and use the phone at the same time? Who is she calling?
think she was trying to call AAA, but I know that was one of the phone calls that she had made. I don't know if she did it. Willow's fixed the toast down. But from the time that I was in the role, when she had to get out to do on the bathroom, she didn't make calls.
To make the calls home.
I
How about after that?
don't recall that. She gave me a phone call, but I don't recall exactly who it was to. So she talked to you. I don't have it. I'm getting literally that's what I'm sorry you're not getting what you want, but notice, as soon as this is not this really I'm gonna keep calling you guys because I want to try to help you for some reason.
Well, it sounds like to me that you're insinuating that if the house is involved, that Sarah, Brandon, and Lucy, Adrian could have took Michael when they left, put him in the duffel bag. And taken him to CUNA. Is that what you're trying to?
That's, yeah.
I know it kind of seems like I'm dancing this going over, but I'm catching up.
I know, and it's like, I'm not, like, I'm putting like those guys, you got yourself. And that's why I'm just like, not even very well. Trying to stick up for somebody else, and like I said, if I know something,
If what's happened is what you told me just now, what happened, then I don't understand why you won't explain the entire story, because I would stick up for you if that was true. About what was going on, conversations afterwards, and where Mike's at now.
I don't recall the conversation that I told you. I just know that there was just conversations about going on with the people and us having to go to the plan and Sarah because everybody else is all after the plan. Right. If I had if I had something that was there, this is what I was referring to, when you're not sitting there trying to bullshit. Maybe some. But then you ask us about the other choices. You're smart. I'm gonna get in. I appreciate it. But again, you ask all of us to come down. I want to talk. We're talking. But you ask for more information. How? Our responsibility is to listen to you and then share that information with that person. But again, Sarah, as you know, is not offering up that or potatoes. She's offering up that, but she's getting it. Is getting it. If you know what that buffet is, like you said, I'm not going to testify against you. She said I'm not going to testify against you. So what's the buffet? Because I believe inside you really do want to tell me. I'm looking at you, man, eye, smart and smart. The one thing you were really good at is I don't want you to I know how Now is the day to tell them that. Because if you don't, and she does, just like your mom said, that's on you. We're here to help you. Believe it or not. That's on you. You took a deep breath. And you exhaled pretty hard because you were that close. It's all the truth. But then you went back into what you know is wrong. It's not. It really is. So we're not that person. Bad people may have done bad things around you. Okay? Honestly. But you can't.
Again, I just want everybody to know it was hard for us to hear in the courtroom. That's why it's so hard for us to hear it now. There was footage that we saw at the courtroom that is not from the confessions that BRANDI put out last year. This is completely different footage. It's over 9 hours long, and there was one area in the footage where it is hollow sounding and muffling going on. It's nothing that I did as far as downloading or anything. This was a problem in the courtroom. There was mumbling. Nobody could understand what was going on. I was surprised that the judge or an attorney didn't say, hey, let's fast forward to the parts where we can understand, because that's how bad it was in court. So this is just an area of the video where you can't really understand what's going on. And it isn't going to matter how it gets put up. You can't hear. You just cannot hear it. It sounds like a bunch of mumbling. And we dealt with this in the courtroom at the preliminary hearing.
We mentioned this last night. You're listening and telling me, okay, I'm not a bad guy. As you tell her, we're not bad people. Not for you. But you've got to get to that place, even with your mom. You've been taking her for all time, all these years. And she's like, I know there's more. She tells us that. And so I respect for you. And let us help in relationship with growing and saying, okay, this is what he said. Because she's going to say something, then Brandon will say something, then Luciana will say something, and all these somethings may not all line up. And so I believe you when you would have said, and in the past, I believe a lot what you said. I really do. I really do. She's shaking her head. Yeah, that's why you asked her back. Because really inside you, you're going to feel 1,000 times better. But you don't have to worry about these things. You know. You know she's lying. She's lying.
I think there's been conversations after the fact, just because of the way Sarah's been acting and stuff. And we know that when this happened,
Chris Madonna is talking to Stacey, letting him know that, you know, they believe that Sarah is lying. Sarah isn't wanting to, they're talking about the deal that was given to Sarah, Sarah not wanting to take a deal, believing that Sarah is lying, that, you know, she doesn't want to tell the truth, and just letting him know that they believe him. They believe that Stacey wants to tell the truth. And Chris Madonna is just trying to let him know, like, I can tell when you're uncomfortable, you put your hands up on your belly, you know, I know you want to talk. I know you want to say something, and basically just letting them know that they don't believe what Sarah had been telling them and stuff. So, and we're only got like 4 or 5 minutes left of this one, and hopefully we won't have this issue with the next video. It only lasts the mumbling and stuff for a short period of time, so we'll see.
That you were affected. Your mom knew that you were affected. I need to know that. I need to know what that is. And I told you, help me find him. I will be on your side 100%. Absolutely 100%. And I don't care what's happened in the past, because we can't change the past. But you can change the future. You can change right now.
As far as specifically what we need,
I need to know what's happened.
I mean, what's this? You should have this more specific questions, whether you don't have to. I agree. What do you have? It's you know, like give information, still, I'm not. But you don't share, right? If we don't share with you, we don't share with other people. She's going to do your point. And she's not going to carry one. We don't want to see that happen. And we will do it for the last time. Because you can tell we weren't lying. It's like we're not lying to you tonight.
Fire alarm or something on. Like I told you, I will advocate for you. I will try to help you any way, shape, or form I can. Okay? Like you said, we can't change what's happened. We can stop the pain and stuff that's happening now. And on the flip side, if we do nothing, when they talk, then they're going to blame it on you. Just tell me what happened.
Turn that up just a little bit.
You right there in the courtroom, the judge asked, turn that up a little bit, because everybody was having such a hard time hearing.
It is 10:30, Your Honor. Does the court want to take a break in the hour-and-a-half increment as per usual, or do you think?
I don't need to. Parties need to.
Judge, frankly, I can use the restroom.
Okay. We'll take a 10-minute recess. We'll come back at 20 minutes to work.
Come forward, give the Vaughan family some. Okay, so I am going to put up the other one. Sorry about that, guys. It is very, very hard to hear. Hopefully the next video works better. There really was, though, this one part where there was just nothing we could do about it, even in the courtroom. So let me get this set up. Okay. Like I said, I hope this works for everybody. It's frustrating for me as a creator knowing that people can't hear this, but this information isn't out anywhere else, and there's nothing I can do to fix the videos. They are what they are from what I got. So we're just going to have to go through. The only other thing I can suggest is if you're having a problem, you might have to re-watch, but all these videos are going to go up. I'm going to put all 17 videos up in a playlist. You'll be able to go through it, listen without any kind of commentary. I'm doing that so creators can also use the content without commentary. The easiest way to get the information out there. Thanks everybody for coming in. I see Buckeye Mama and Ray Ray. Jen is here. Thank you guys all for coming in. All right, let me share and we'll go forward to this next video and hope and pray that we don't run into the same problems with the captions.
Reasonably safe and not harassed in this room. So what you feel or think is up to you. But to the extent you express that to third parties here, and especially to the extent and it creates a harassing environment, or to the extent you express these things and it becomes in any way disruptive or problematic, you'll be removed from the room. You won't be permitted to return. So I don't want anyone to feel unnecessarily chastised. I'm certainly not singling anybody out. This is just a universal truth. So I want to just be sure that we manage it and don't have a problem. Is the state ready to resume?
We are, Your Honor.
Is the judge ready to resume?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Duke, go ahead.
Okay, we're just gonna continue playing where we left off.
All right. Marshall, could you keep those lights off for me again, please?
Can somebody let me know, did the judge sound mumbly to you guys too? I'm just wondering. I'm wondering if my headset or my earbuds from my phone are not working correctly. Was the judge being mumbly? Could you guys not understand what he was saying, or could you guys understand him fine? Just curious. Thank you, Mama. Sammy, you were doing amazing. Our family and I speak for Monkey's Army. Appreciate everything you do. Sorry, Monkey's Army. Sometimes I get to speak for y'all. I love it. Okay, Cleverface, thank you. I was just curious. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the feedback. I'm wondering if these videos were very, very large and me uploading them into YouTube is the problem. But I cannot do closed captions if I play the video that I have downloaded from my computer. So I'm going to continue playing with this. We're going to see. And then, I don't know, if you guys would want to try going straight from my computer, because I can share it, but we're not going to be able to have closed captions at all. And since you can hear Stacey anyway, I don't know which one's better at this point. I'm frustrated. Just frustrated. Sorry, guys.
Being away from her, trying to detract. Is that the right word? Like, detract attention? Or make sure we're not, we're not on the radar.
And how did she do that?
That's why I changed my phone numbers. It wasn't my idea to change the phone numbers. Or to change the phones that we were with. I mean, it was my idea to sell some of the devices that we had, but those devices were going to give you a full profit for what they were buying from the open. So everything that I made sure that I sold was already wrapped up in its packaging.
So what ended up happening with those phones?
You guys have them.
The ones that you guys were using at that time?
Those are the 7 ones.
There's no data on them from that time. What happened?
Oh, no, sorry. No. I think we ended up selling, we did someone to his name is Jamie Sobrano, is what his name was. Sobrano is, or Sobrano. I don't remember what his exact name was, or his last name, but I know his first name was Jamie. I didn't come up with that.
And then why did you sell them? Was there evidence on the phone?
Other than the verbal communication, but that's not something you really want to ask back and forth. I didn't, honestly, because I had no idea that it was federal thing or whatever you guys can pull phone calls. Like, I had no idea that it was even a thing. When you guys showed me the contact order, you guys had for it. So, I guess you guys know everything.
The text messages and stuff that you guys had, what did you guys speak about in those?
I don't, it's been so long since we've had those ones. I don't remember exactly.
You talk about Michael?
I think there was texting back and forth, and I think we were like, you say you need to get your shit straight or whatever, like, this is, not something you typically, right?
Okay, I don't know about you guys, but it's much, much better on my end with this video, so.
Every normal person does in society.
Yeah.
I know that I've had that conversation with her 3 times.
Stacey, when me and Detective Keller interviewed you the first time, and after this, it was trying to find me.
It's one night.
And when you went home, when you left the PD, yes, you guys made a phone call or got on board. And what was the conversation?
We need to get us all on the same page. We need to get our stories.
And what about
Michael Vaughan.
Why did Brandon claim that he and Sarah stashed Michael?
Right here, Mr. Brandon Shurtliff. I hope you're listening. Juanita Kelleher asked Stacey, why did Brandon claim that you and Sarah stashed Michael? See, Brandon, you have knowledge. How could you have seen Sarah and Stacey stash Michael if you weren't around, if you didn't see anything? It doesn't make sense, Brandon. Make that make sense. This is 4 minutes, 39. I need to write something down, y'all. Hold on. See, this is where information, Brandon, starts coming in about you. Juanita Kelleher says a lot of things. You cannot have that kind of knowledge. You cannot witness Sarah and Stacey doing anything unless you were involved, unless you were there. You cannot keep trying to act like you weren't there and keep trying to convince everybody that you weren't there when you have spoken to detectives and told them things. And now the whole world knows. The whole world knows.
I think Brandon's scared.
I know he's scared.
I know for that he's scared, and Brandon's never done prison time. And I think he honestly just he was blaming Sarah and I because I was the first people.
And Stacey Wondra says you're scared, Brandon. You're scared because you've never been to prison, and that's why you're blaming Sarah and Stacey. Are you scared, Brandon? You should be.
But where did you guys stash him? Where was he stashed when you guys had taken him and moved him?
I don't even know that.
Well, even if it's Sarah. So Brandon's saying that you guys stashed him. So where did you guys stash him at that time?
And when he was in the house, he was, like I said, I was in the bedroom where nothing.
You're not talking about the house. I'm talking about when Brandon said you guys stashed Michael. I believe he said you stashed Michael in the basement.
Juanita Kelleher says, I believe Brandon said you stashed Michael in the basement. And Stacey Wondra is saying he never did that. So Brandon, what did you actually see? Maybe you should go down and talk to law enforcement again and tell them everything you know. Because Stacey is throwing you under the bus right now, just like you tried to do when you told Juanita Kelleher that you saw them stash Michael.
My knowledge that was never even in that basement.
Okay.
The only thing that I remember me ever opening that cubicle in the basement was to put that Savage box down there.
Okay.
Because I didn't want him on the desk right off the bat.
Okay. Any other places, any other basements that Brandon could be talking about?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, he was probably going to base it at his house.
Was he talking about that basement?
I don't know. I just know that that's what the defense was thinking that was that he didn't have.
And I just want to say, the basement, it keeps being spoken about. I don't know if Brandon said basement or crawl space. He must have said basement, if that's what Juanita Kelleher is saying he said is basement. I'm just wondering if Brandon meant crawl space, because he was nervous when he was talking to detectives. Because the Wondras house doesn't have a basement, it has a crawl space, and Brandon's mom's house in Cuna doesn't have a basement either, it has a crawl space. Just to clear that up, that's why Juanita says, could there have been any other basement he could have been talking about? And he says no.
Why would you be stashing his mom's kidnapped? And that's what I'm saying. I didn't know he stashed him. I don't know where he would stash him. I would check the state park and the grave and I mean, that's where Sarah's mom was. You know what I mean? So I can kind of see how, it was like, she did this crime.
And I know that Sarah has a heart. There's a heart, and this is probably something that she wasn't intending. Yeah, it just happened.
I think it was, honestly, I think Adrian was the key asset, in all of this.
Yeah.
And I think it started with Adrian. I think Sarah's, yeah, she was all right. But I think Sarah was like, oh, well,
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. It's a good way to make some money. I think when they committed the crime, it was more than they could chew.
Yeah.
That's not something that's small.
Big deal.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I have an idea.
He's smarter than we love.
What do you think about making a control phone call to Sarah?
What do I think? I mean,
And make a phone call to her, and we'll monitor it. And you'll get her to confess.
okay.
Chris Madonna is talking to Stacey about a controlled phone call. Call Sarah. We'll listen in, see if you can get her to confess.
I believe. Would she confess to you? Or is she gonna go into law?
If you give me a chance, we'll give it a shot.
Okay, if you told her, how would it play out?
I'm really, I'm good. I said I need to talk to you. I would start by saying, I wouldn't say anything about you as me. I would just be like, hey, this is, instead of, I would just be like, so I said, we need to talk about this Michael Vaughan. And I said, this is, I'm just gonna tell him the jail gave me a free phone call. And we're not gonna say anything about it, just like, I'm gonna say that.
Well, we can get some money on your voice for the phone. Okay, and it's one so that you don't have to explain why you called.
How does this make you feel? I noticed you got a little movement going.
I want to hear, like, not telling a dick, but I'm not gonna keep letting her try to incriminate me for something that I never intended to do. And so I know that I can probably coerce or like sweet talk coercion her into giving a confession, but not coerce. Not coerce. Like we're not asking positively. I'm pretty sure that I can get her to confess. I just know how she is with jail phones, and I know she knows that they're recorded. Okay. So that I think is going to be the dilemma of not. I really think it needs to be done on a phone number that's not recognized by the jail.
Okay. If we need a phone to call from, and would that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell her that I don't know how to start. I can't say that let me help, but I just say that
just tell her somebody in the car or something.
Yeah.
So I have a question, because I know that people, when they do stupid shit and stupid shit happens, that sometimes we regret having that happen. And we have to go to the areas that kind of punish ourselves, you know, so like either an area that she picked him up at or an area that she left him. Where are areas that Sarah goes? And I don't believe that she took him to the state park. Yeah, that's there's so many people there.
And that's like I said, that was just one of my first.
But she probably was gone there a few times, because I can't imagine the weight and the pain that you guys have gone through over this last year.
Yeah.
So I know. Oh, there's probably somewhere that you guys go to punish yourselves pretty much.
The other place that her and I go fishing a lot is at Black Bridge or the Centennial Park of the Head. There's a Centennial celebration. The fishing access right there.
Right there, you go in order?
Yeah.
But where do you go to remember about Michael?
A lot of the times we've gone to the gravesite of where Sarah's mom is, because I don't know why. I mean, not so much would have been my choice to go, but you know, I don't like arguing with Sarah. It's complete nonsense, you know, to try to get, you know, try to get a point across here, to try to argue a reasonable, valuable point, and trying to argue with, you know, a brick wall, you know.
Well, where do you guys go to pray with Michael, or pray about Michael?
Church.
Church. Okay, you don't have a spot that you go where the spot that she's identified as important.
Not that I notice. I mean, we go to the First Nazarene Church. She's and sometimes we go to Celebration Church in Ontario as well.
But the churches are just somewhere to pray. That's not where he would be at.
No. I know. As far as the direct, I mean, there was no place that I or she really went to directly pray about Michael. It was more so, you know, I mean, when we went fishing, I mean, there was a lot of, you know, she would get frustrated because she doesn't know how to, she gets snagged a lot, or she gets her reel bunched up in a bunch of line.
Yeah.
And she gets frustrated because I don't get bunched up. I have fishing experience, you know, but I can sit there and throw my line out and not have to worry about the line, you know, bunched up in a bird's nest, you know, and she gets it all the time. I'm kind of giving up to, you know, helping her, because it's like, I mean, I've taught her how to fish. There's no reason she shouldn't figure out she can undo a bird's nest of crochet or what do you call it? Yarn. There's no reason she shouldn't get a present. I mean, so, I mean, as far as the places that we've gone pretty often to Blacksbridge, also gone to the City Park.
Is Michael buried at Blacksbridge?
I do not know.
Okay.
I don't know. I would tell you. I don't know where he was buried at.
Okay.
That's how he was buried. I don't have an answer to that. My assumption was possibly, I don't know why would just leave it up and out here. Or why would you just leave them looking up, you know, but I mean, definitely not something that I would do.
Have you guys told anybody else about this? Okay, no family members, Sarah and her mom?
What Sarah and her mom have talked about, I do not know. I don't, her mom and dad aren't really huge on it, so I try not to associate with them too much.
Okay. How about the kids' clothes that were at your guys' house? Where did those come from?
I don't even know where those clothes came from. I know that he had what he had on, but I don't know. I know all the, you know, our mom tried to blame me for the credit card charges and stuff like that for clothing. Where his mom told me through a letter. Her mom told me through a letter when she first wrote me when I was in there that she said that their credit card got stolen. She wanted to know why I did it. First of all, I mean, you're always going to the wrong person. You know, my history says I know, but history is stealing someone's credit card.
I don't really care about their credit card. They never pressed charges, and frankly, they probably should have looked at Sarah, and I think they knew that. That's probably why she didn't press charges.
Yeah.
I mean, we already know Sarah's had charges for fraud and theft and everything else, and like Juanita Kelleher just got done saying, this credit card issue was probably Sarah anyway, and she doesn't even want to talk about it. Juanita's original question to Stacey was about the clothes. Why did we find I think it was kids' clothes at the house, and he didn't even want to talk about it. He went straight into about credit cards and stuff.
Oh, I can see that.
It's just,
But there was older kids' clothes.
Yeah, older kids' clothes is what she just said.
yeah, okay, so Ian has 2 daughters. Ian and Sturgeon are tattoo artists. Sarah and I helped.
Ian, their tattoo artist that has the kid, that's what he's talking about. Ian is also their rug dealer, just FYI, not just their tattoo artist.
Ian watched me babysit his kids because Ian was always tattooing. He didn't have a lot of time at home. So Lexi was 9, that's his youngest, and Anna Grace is 11. Well, Lexi's 10 now, but we would hang out with Lexi a lot. And Lexi and Sarah would go clothes shopping and go do girl things. So I think that's where the closer came from, to be honest with you. Because, yeah, they're older. I mean, I know that Sarah did buy Lexi quite a few. And I think one she spent a couple of months in clothes. So I just, 2 questions.
One of the things I'm confused, Stacey, is you said that was Adrian, Sarah, and Brandon came through that door together. Okay. Was Brandon there during the abduction?
He's saying Adrian, Sarah, and Brandon came through the door with Michael. Let's just rewind that part just a little bit.
Stacey, is you said that was Adrian, Sarah, and Brandon came through that door together. Okay. Was Brandon there during the abduction?
That I do not know.
Okay, why?
All I know is that they all 3 came through the door together, so I assume they were together.
And Michael's in between.
He's just saying all 3 of them came in the door together. I'm assuming they were all together. Whether this is the point where Sarah comes in with Michael or not, I'm not clear. I haven't seen that yet, but that's what he's talking about.
Sarah, yeah. Okay. So there's an assumption that Brandon was there. So do you think that's one of the reasons why he could be very scared?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
I think he's afraid of being implicated and being away from this.
okay, I totally understand that.
I mean, put yourself in my shoes. I mean,
Well, I can't understand your fear. Yeah, you're at home, next thing you know it,
you got a kid
your
or
wife and 2 other people walking in with a
kid, like, what the fuck?
Right. We got that.
No, yeah, and with him, I would 99.9% put it on. I would say 100% he's scared. And he's trying to duck off because he wants to avoid the conflict with Sarah.
And see, Brandon, Stacey's saying that you're scared. You don't want to be blamed for all of this. But you were there at the house when Sarah brings in Michael.
This Asian guy, and
Is that why he's in Montana? Is that why he's in Montana?
is he for real?
I'm just asking you.
I have no idea. I know I'm from Montana 24 years. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, a lot of people are.
So he's scared. Okay. Were you scared?
Yeah, I was scared fucking shitless. Like, that's not something you just sit there and take lightly. And then you come in with a random kid, like, who the fuck? I mean, it's not something you just want to, oh, look, a kid. It's not like you got a new fucking puppy.
But you guys left with him in the back of the truck, right? You said?
I mean, I think it was in the back of the truck, is what it looked like. I mean, the bag was offset.
So the bag was there.
Yeah.
So are you wrong that they went and sold him?
I'm going off of that's what they said they wanted to go do is make money. So what I could be wrong about is him being in the duffel bag. I know that they didn't take it on, but when they came back, you know, I asked her duffel bag, and she goes, you know, she didn't really tell me, but I noticed when I noticed her wallet and it was filled with some cash.
Well, where was Michael at that point? See, that's what we're
Now he's talking about seeing Sarah with cash. And now being asked where was Michael at that point. So going back to the story that they sold Michael in Ontario here.
well, I know it's confused about that part of your story.
No, that's
Not that you're trying to lie or whatever.
not something
But the clarity of that is.
Yeah, no, Michael had not, like I said, after they with the, you know, the paper and whatnot, and the duffel bag, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they did, that's what they're doing, where they did, when they said they were going to take care of some business, was they went to Ontario.
Okay.
And that was after they had Michael?
Yes. Yes. Because I remember precisely that, when Brandon stuff that I mean, it looked offset, you know what I mean? But it didn't look exactly like there was something.
There isn't a picture of a little boy sitting in the living room at their house. That is Ian, their tattoo artist and rug dealer's daughter, in the house is what that picture is. It's not a little boy. It's a 9-year-old or an 11-year-old little girl. I think he said 9.
Laying it down. It looks, I mean, just like you go pack your suitcase for a trip, or, you know, pack a duffel bag, yeah, you're gonna see it looks pretty heavy. You know, so that, I mean, that's all I have to go off of. I can't tell you 1,000,000,000% certainty. Get to Ontario, but they didn't come back with the kid. So, I mean, where are they gonna stuff with that? In the garage? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. Well, if they're trying to get rid of the kid with money.
Right, when they come home, keep me honest here.
Yeah.
When they come home, she's holding him. The duct tape comes in play.
Yeah.
You mentioned, right? Is that correct? And what works in
Now they're talking about Sarah coming into the house with Michael again. They're trying to get him to tell the truth because he keeps trying to create things. Chris McDonough's already said, like, we're trying to, you know, we only want the truth here. He even says right here, I don't want to put words in your mouth. But and before this, is this the point where Sarah came in, or?
I'm just trying to repeat what you've shared with us and make sure that I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. So sometimes you gotta, you know, feed the tool shed here for a second, okay?
I got some of those.
Exactly. So the duct tape is in play here. You hear it. Like earlier, you said you saw him on either the couch or the floor. You assume that's where they picked him up. Which one was it?
He was on the couch.
You know that for
Yeah.
sure. And help me understand how you know that.
I remember seeing him on the couch.
Okay, so you saw him.
Yeah.
Was he hurt at all?
I mean, he didn't look marked up, no.
Okay.
But they kept telling him to shut up. He's screaming.
Juanita asked Stacey if Michael was hurt, and he says he didn't look like anything was wrong with him.
I was just on top of it.
Was it hitting?
It didn't sound like they were getting him.
And when you saw him, how scared was he?
He was shook up. Yeah.
Describe it.
Like,
Trigger warning for everybody. This is when Stacey Wondra starts going into details about everything that happened to Michael. Right now, he's talking about how they were telling him to shut up. They've already mentioned him screaming. A lot of details are coming. Mama, I know this upset you in the courtroom, so if you're still here and you're listening, I don't know if you want to leave and have one of your sisters or somebody tell you when it's over. Just want to let you know that we're to the very difficult part of this video. Stacey's saying that he was scared, he was shook up, and it gets worse, you guys.
Like, just, you know, like, you felt intimidated, you know, that feeling, you know, you get when you're like just super shook up and scared.
And who was dominant? Who was the most dominant personality in that movie?
Adrian.
Can you help me understand that?
It was more, is it assertive, is that the word? Like where you're, you know, you're more like you're showing dominance, you know, like, you know, I'm the boss, here, shut up, you know, type of thing.
This is where Adrian says, I'm the boss, shut up. They're asking about who the most dominant person is, and I believe he says it was Adrian, but it didn't pop up in the closed captions. I want to rewind just a tiny bit right here.
Who's the most dominant personality in that movie?
Adrian.
Can you help me understand that?
It was more, is it assertive, is that the word? Like where you're, you know, you're more like you're showing dominance, you know, like, you know, I'm the boss, here, shut up, you know, type of thing. Sarah wasn't, Sarah kept telling him to shut up, but Adrian was more verbal with it.
And how was the little boy responding?
Kept crying. I mean, just, and so that's, at that point, I already got into the room, and that's when I ended up taking.
Could you handle watching that?
No, well, physically, no, it was just internally, it was tearing me up.
And help me describe it.
Just.
This is where Stacey Wondra claims that he went into his bedroom at this point because it teared him up and he couldn't handle seeing Adrian and Sarah telling Michael to shut up. And this is just disgusting. Because in this part of it, I believe that law enforcement is believing what Stacey is saying. And whether I believe what Stacey's saying or not, it doesn't make a difference. If he's saying Michael was being told to shut up because he was screaming, I believe that Michael was being told to shut up. By who? Don't know. But of course Michael's screaming. Of course he's upset. You know, he didn't want Sarah to be holding him. He didn't want to be there. And now you have 4 people in a house that Michael doesn't even know. So yeah, he's screaming. He wants to go home. He wants his mommy. He wants to go home. Not that he's screaming that, but, you know, he's scared. He does not want to be there. But Stacey claims he goes off to the bedroom at this point.
Like that feeling where it just eats you, you know, like, you know, your best friend of 5 years, you know, literally just did something so sinfully that it literally leaves, I mean, like a burnt hole in your heart. And you just feel like just eating away.
If you were to call Sarah tonight and you asked her, where did you put Michael? Would that be a question of how no ground, or would she say you know?
I think I can get her to say it.
Okay, but that's not my question.
It's probably, I don't know at first, but I know how to speak talk.
Okay, I know you know how to speak talk, but would she say you already know where he is as well? And think that's suspicious that you're asking that question?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Okay. What do you think she's going to say?
No, I don't work it up, but I think I can make a confession.
Okay. And what do you think she'll confess to?
The place that he's at, I think she'll confess to everything.
Okay.
I told you guys.
3 places you offered, which one of the 3 do you think she's going to push out?
It could be 1, 2, one issue, three or none, I don't accept. Highest one, I would say probably no. And where's none was going towards, outside of window. So, yeah.
You earlier also mentioned that at Brandon's house, you took the duffel bag out of the back of the truck and we shaped on the side of the house. Am I right?
We took it inside the house from the side of the house, not outside.
You took it inside the house. So do you think, Michael?
First, he's saying that Brandon took Michael into the house in Cuna. So now we're talking about Cuna. I believe he does say a couple different stories here. I'm not sure.
No, Michael was inside. Yeah. I started. I was writing No. I'm so sorry. That's okay. That's right.
Stacey Wondra is laughing. They're giving him chew. They're being cordial with him. Nobody's yelling and screaming. Stacey Wondra is not being bullied or intimidated, you know, to the point of a false confession. It's disgusting.
So we get Brandon's inside the house with the duffel bag. Is Michael in the bag? I hope that doesn't make you throw up.
That's all over you this time.
I appreciate that. Wait, is he in the house or in the bag?
How?
Yeah, see, I told you. You not throw up. If you're not working in together, guys. Don't work in the house and say the dude was throwing up and all this other stuff.
Okay, so as far as him being in the duffel bag is fishing routine. Because like I told you, when I saw the duffel bag, it looked like it was offset, you know, like not like heavy set, but like offset. But when they had,
So like if I set a bowling ball on my back, I start to just close over here and pick it up and then here's how to describe it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, but it's heavier on the bottom, it's a bowling ball on the bottom. So it's like if you were to stick, okay, like, let's try to stuff this, stick me in a white bag, I'm gonna need a lot of the bottom. But that's what I'm saying though, like is, and you would definitely be able to know if there was, I mean, you would be able to see if there was something in that bag. And like I said, they had gone on to, and that's, I don't know for certain it was going to help that. I know that they did that.
And he's talking about he doesn't know for certain whether or not Michael was in the duffel bag at this point, because he starts talking about Ontario again. And he was saying that the duffel bag looked offset, not heavy set. So again, a lot of deflection going on as they are trying to pull the truth or get the truth out of Stacey, because he's literally came up with hundreds of lies at this point.
And I know that you probably did get transported through a duffel bag to get sold.
So let's go back to the couch for a second. So he's sitting on the couch. Sarah's yelling. Adrian's yelling. What's friend?
Can you describe how he was on the couch? I've heard two different ways, and so I want to understand what he looked like when he was on the couch.
Well, it wasn't like sitting straight up and down. It was like, you were like to its side, with those arms crossed, like just in tears.
Okay, was he in like the middle?
It was more opposite to the right, or like say if this is the couch, here's the right side and left side.
Again, protect your mental health. They went back to when Sarah comes in the house with Michael. Lots of details coming.
There's more to the end of the couch towards the middle.
And so from that observation, there, the decision somewhere was made to abduct him, to keep him quiet. You hear the duct tape.
Yeah.
Help me understand how you see that he's got his hands, his legs, and his mouth duct tape. How did that come?
Because I think I came out of the room for a second, and that's when I noticed that everything was all taped up.
And he was on the couch still?
No, he put him on the ground with the TV.
Okay, and walk us through that.
I just remember walking or coming out of the bedroom for a couple, and I wanted to see what was going on. And that's when the witness was that he was taped up. I know part of just feels like this. There's a piece of tape over his mouth, and his legs had like 2 strips on.
Okay, was he on his stomach or his back?
And he was on his stomach or his back.
Okay.
Laying on that.
Okay. What was going through your heart when you saw that?
Like pounding, like constant, like boom, 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 like to the point like I thought I was gonna have a heart attack.
And what was Brandon?
You could tell he was really nervous. The whole thing was like, you know, like if you were asking for help, you would be like what I do, you know, like the whole freaking out aspect, and that's what his attitude was. It wasn't.
He's saying that Brandon is standing there. He's freaked out, saying, "What do I do? What do I do?" Because they're asking what Brandon was doing at this point, because now Stacey has said he has came out of the bedroom. And this is how he knows that they put Michael or put duct tape on Michael. He uses his hands to show how they had wrapped Michael, feet, hands, mouth, and even makes a noise when describing how he heard the duct tape as it was being pulled from the roll. And Brandon standing here panicked, he said, just freaking out, nervous, wondering and asking what to do. Brandon, why are you asking what you can do? Why are you even trying to help?
You know what? It's not really involved in the taping, I don't think, because I think he was a little more distraught.
Who did the taping?
That was Sarah.
Okay. Did they do it together?
Sarah happened pretty quick, so.
Okay. Did she ever tell you that she did?
No, but I know Brandon would he's too pussy to do something like that.
Okay. And but did Sarah ever mention to you?
No, she's never told me you're in, but I know you're, you know, moving and are moving.
Okay. So if the phone call idea here, if you made a phone call to Sarah with a phone that we provide you, you think she'll get hanky if you call her for that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, so really, I think we should work on that. And, on the phone. And you might have to put it right here and we'll record the call and put it on speaker. Because she won't know, right?
That's fine.
So I had a question still about Sarah's shirt. So what was going on with her shirt? Because the trip back without her wearing a shirt, that's That's hard for me to comprehend that.
That's honestly, she's done it so many times, not on that trip. That is exactly why she wasn't wearing this trip. Dead honest. I don't, that's something I overreact. 1,000%. Not even gonna lie.
So in the phone calls that night, did you guys look for anybody that could give you advice or help?
I don't know. I do not, I know not something typically that I told her that I would advise. Very good, I told her you shouldn't talk about this with anybody. Other than the police.
How about like, is it Kraftmeyer? Kraftmeyer, what's the name? Yeah. The last name was Kraftmeyer. It was one of the phone calls. That's the last name.
Oh. We call last name Kraftmeyer.
Okay. Anybody else that you can think of that called that maybe to help you guys or for advice or anything like that?
No.
Okay. You weren't looking for somebody to maybe watch them for the night since you guys were dropping them off in Kuna?
No.
Okay. How did he stay there that night without somebody there?
So now they're going back to Kuna asking Stacey, how did he stay there that night without anybody else there, after asking questions about whether or not they were, called anybody else to get them involved, have them watch Michael or anything. Stacey denies that anybody else had any involvement in any of that.
You search it though. You need somebody that you can't search the number.
I have a phone with the voice. Yeah, well, I can, it's assigned to my phone, I can change the number. And it'll report it through. Okay. Anyway, different number. Are you cool with that? Do you feel comfortable with that?
I don't see the wrong name. Is that not right?
So how do I present it when I first call up? She asked how to call me. Just said that she said it's stuck at home. You just see what someone got a phone. You guys be willing to write down some questions while talking to her?
They're trying to get him to call Sarah now. And this is the part where Juanita sounds like she's muffled, so you're not going to hear Juanita too well, but you will hear Stacey and Chris.
We just want to know what's going on with Michael, and we have to be able to prove what you're saying is true and that you're not lying to us, because that's going to be a big thing, because you've lied to us before. So now we have to prove what you're saying is true. So anything that you've told us tonight and a way of proving that, that's what we're wanting. Okay, so I want to know where Michael is at. That is the biggest thing. That is the only thing I can give back to their family, is somewhere for them to go. Christmas is coming. And Sarah, actually, BRANDI called me tonight and she said that they are decorating ornaments for Michael, and they wanted Michael to be there so bad to help make the ornaments. But they wanted to have the tree up and have the ornaments. If that's not
Juanita's letting him know all we want is the truth. The one thing I want to find out is, where is Michael? Because the family is putting ornaments on their Christmas tree and everything. She talked to BRANDI earlier that night and just really wants to know where Michael is.
Going to happen is, if it's never going to happen, we need to put her out of her misery than thinking that what could be going on with my child. Let's give them back to them, because that's the only thing we can do.
Your heart's in the right place, Stacey, it's hard as a stitch. Okay? And that's just what Detective Keller said. Everything is about verifying what you're saying. Okay? From your perspective. Okay? And, you know, the truth is the truth. Right? So, what's the phone?
208 741. Or sorry, 741 4471.
Okay, so
Bruce Kerr.
use your 741 447.
Yeah, before you hit send.
I'm sure everything's fine.
Yeah, we're gonna come sit back down. Where's, oh, okay. I'm gonna switch this out before we go on speaker and we hear beeping.
That's a good thing. The path that you're in.
I will tell you though, holding in something that hurts so bad, everywhere you go, you see Michael's face. You, everywhere. Everything you see, people are talking about him, people know about him. Holding that in was killing me. We can't change the past, but we'll change the future, right? Okay. What? Not working? Okay. Even if we can't save Michael, if we can get Michael back, you're gonna save Ben. You're gonna save Kira. You're gonna save Ari. You're gonna save BRANDI. You're gonna save Tyler. You're gonna save Bob. Because right now they are dying. Tyler can't even go out of the house without people accusing him of killing his baby. Can you imagine being a daddy and having people accuse you of that? And he can't even breathe. So what you're doing is like a sacrifice that you are saving them. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. You're the only one that can do this. I think that's a long term.
The mailbox belonging to is 087414471 is full and cannot accept new messages at this time. Please try it.
Instead of the jail cell.
It's going to switch over to my insurance on speaker.
mailbox belonging to 0874141.
So, I had a question for you. With the polygraph, what questions did they ask you? And how is it that you were able to pass it? Did you lie when you were answering those questions? And so, did you have feelings when you thought of those questions? Did they evoke emotion in you?
Sadness. When was the last time I saw Sarah?
The attorneys were talking.
She's not. I was ready to go and try and call her. I talked to her Sunday night. We talked to her about
Guys just did a welfare check out there, like, what is it?
One point I was talking to her, a little bit, it's like I couldn't even get a conversation because she was so, oh God, this is not that, so I couldn't even really have a conversation. She was just, so, so, until I had this one face, like,
Did you talk to Carson about Michael?
I love the person I like. The last conversation I had with the person was that I want to potentially walk in out on the charges, which, so that happened.
You never spoke, when this happened, did you talk to Carson? Because it looked like you called him at 6 o'clock that night. And then you called him again at midnight.
Yeah, that was when we were in Brandon's car. And I was remember about the conversation with Sarah talking. I had talked about that.
What did you talk to him at 6 o'clock for?
I think it had to do with, getting home, fixing Brandon's car, and like replacing or some shit. Like, it wasn't all that, it's, the whole spark on the whole stuff like that.
Do you know anything about the Mississippi Cup?
So if I knew about that last time too. But I remember seeing the city of our house, but when I looked in the county, that house there had lots and stuff.
What does it look like?
Quick notice and they might have things.
And when did you see it?
That was probably.
So it was in the house after he disappeared. Did you see one in the house prior to him disappearing? Okay. And have you found anything after they did all this, anything that belonged to Michael at your house?
Yeah, my first house, I had really As you probably can see in the house, I was a bunch of cleaner, so I was always clean.
Yeah, post-incident, after he was abducted and was no conversation.
I don't know, just asking if, they're going to talk about my phone, you're going to shut her home. She was, she doesn't talk to my phone.
I wasn't, I mean, back up, I mean, like, immediately, like, 2 days after that.
Oh,
Like, just pillow talk, like that.
Oh, yeah, no, we've had a few conversations regarding it, but
What were they?
just about, it was about, you know, how I told her, which I still thought, I still think it's bullshit, what she did. And like, I mean, I suppose, and she already knew what I'm ground up, you know, I'm like that. It's not even bullshit, it's just complete bullshit. Because the fact that we're hiding this, which shouldn't even, I told her, so we'll report this to the cops, so we'll report that to his family. It's too late now, it's just saying, because she already, but as far as the conversations and I try not to have that with him because it just got heated. And Sarah and then we heated conversations and turns into stuff like being held in the bush and throwing without shoes. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating about that shit. That was no joke. That was.
Did you guys talk about moving?
We didn't talk about it, but yeah.
Did you pack?
No.
There wasn't a box packed?
That box was, I didn't have a box packed recently.
No, back then, right after all this happened.
Sarah put a bunch of shit away in boxes. It wasn't so much that we were just not to leave. I mean, number one, they had nowhere to go. And number two, I'm not going to move somewhere and not being prepared for it. So that had been talking, we've been talking years about moving somewhere. You know, I was told that I wanted to go to I'm talking about moving to California or Florida, or, places like that.
What happened that made Brandon move out?
This whole Brandon and I got in a lot of complications because he kept going on Sarah, and shining in her pants, and I know they were doing shit over that. I'm not stupid, I know. I didn't want to continue hearing moaning sounds, waking up in the morning when I hear moaning sounds, or waking up in the morning, going back to the fight. It's just like, and I told Brandon, I said, this is not fun. I told him, I said, we on the time we're trying to support. I mean, Brandon and I have always spent money back and forth. There's only been times where one of the examples have come out this way, just because I didn't like the way he was approaching it. I didn't like how there's times when we're going to stay with us and just try to make house kids. We have this stuff put us to a certain place so that I know I know it's going to be here so where it's supposed to be. He's also notorious for stealing loans. I mean, there's so many times that I've went to go look over Michael loans and I wouldn't know where they are, but I know a lot of times when I look in his backpack where I was get like your forms and whatever. and phone chargers and calling over his Virginia Chevrolet. Right? I told you I don't know that. What did she say about it? I mean, she didn't say anything specific how she got the car. I know that the car was backed up in the garage. I think they backed it up in the garage too. So I would assume probably if she took one of the car.
He just got done saying that the car was backed up in the garage, and he thinks that they put him into the garage, put Michael into the garage that way. And then, of course, talking about the S life between Brandon and Sarah and how he got sick of hearing them all the time doing it and stuff, and how that was aggravating him. I believe they switched the subject with Stacey around. When Stacey clams up, they'll start asking him questions about other things instead of just pressuring him on, talking about Michael. And it ends up working, in my opinion, if you want to believe Stacey.
I was over there, with the children were in the backseat. And I would have gotten what she said, So when they came home, the car was back in the garage. Yeah. Right. Did you see what they come out with the car? Yeah. They came in the front door, That's right. And who was driving, if you know? Sarah was one of the ones driving her in the second year. So the car, this one is truck, the ones that so would Sarah have tracked him or one of the two guys? Or did she say? She did not say. What do you think? Oh, we're not doing this. So the two. I'd say the one. Brandon associated with all this. I don't know. As long as I'm going to sit there and help out. I would say Brandon should up on the side. What are you guys talking about? I mean, Brandon has a certain personality. When, I'm telling him something, and he doesn't want to, let's say one, but his opinion wasn't there. It's you can tell him, I'm very observant when it comes to experience. I can tell him something's sad, I can tell him something's irritating and that. It just wasn't his own.
He was saying that he could tell when somebody's sad because he started talking about Brandon, because Brandon's there and he's acting sad. It's really strange how Stacey never wants to talk really bad about Brandon. And sometimes I ask myself, why? Why is that? What does Brandon know that he could tell about Stacey is what I'm thinking. Brandon knows something about Stacey, so he tries not to throw Brandon under the bus too much because he's afraid of what Brandon will talk about.
So I feel with a lot of distress and a lot of sadness that was going on. I think everyone would go on top of this list to sit there and try to carry something out of the world. When you guys had a private conversation about this, where you share with each other. I just told her, I said, this is, I told you this, I said, this is my publicity. I said, there's no reason to be doing something. I said, there's no purpose for it. This is getting about something you're going to go and take someone else's life. So that you can look around, so and that was that conversation. I tried not to talk. I try not to talk about stuff like I said, because it's just, I don't, I haven't talked to him since arrested.
So after Sarah was arrested, you ran out of the house. And I know the stress was about Michael Vaughan to you at that time. What were your conversations with him?
So when Sarah got arrested, I was on fire for him because I was charged with taxi, not only my taxi company, but my own taxi. I had bills that I had to pay, I had to pay a car payment, I had to pay.
You figure out who you even owe. Yeah.
And so me, I've never had that responsibility. Sarah's always been keen on, getting what parents on the loan and stuff like that. She was always up on it. That's what we were credit for, not the bills. So when I called Brandon and Jesse, and I asked Jesse to come on and help me with my business. And I also asked Mary to come over and said, look, listen, our responsibility for our tips or arguments. I said, I'm sorry. I said, just please come and say the house. I said, get serious with this thing. And like 2 weeks after I was there, I got it. I called Sarah's mom and said, I'm going to go grab this thing. He fucking called me when I was in Benjamin. He was don't be a bitch. Just really want. You know what? And I'm not a very violent person. I've spent enough time in the place to overcome my fear. And Brandon was getting to a point where I wanted to slow down. But it was no wise. And so I just told his mom or called her mom. Sarah's mom and asked her to come over and so I did.
You guys never discussed Michael? Brandon don't care about Michael?
I don't want to say he didn't care. I just know that was a long time discussion.
So how did you feel about the fire of Michael on your guys' fridge? The fire of Michael on your fridge.
I personally am felt shitty about fire what happened. The Sarah insisted that we were there. Because, one of the things the monitors they were, that really hang flares, to start up. I felt very sad that just posting on this poster.
So you mentioned the story, our story. And what's the other one?
Just so that we're on the same page.
What is that?
Just the fact that just so that everyone Sarah everyone knows something knows what had happened. Everyone was on the same page with us. Where I don't know what to tell you.
So surely what's the story? What was the story you were going to tell?
That he was abducted and that they abducted him and that they kidnapped him.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
What about the alibi?
The alibi was that everybody would be on the same page with what had happened and take the prison. That Michael officer had a gun and that alibi wasn't, the one was taken. That's what had happened, which is what it was.
Okay, but what, how did this go? I don't know if you quite understood my question. Okay. When you say that's the story, was that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just everything, that's the took place in the, what I understand.
So you guys all talked about the events that took place.
Yes.
So Brandon knows what you just did. And Sarah knows what you just shared. All three of you know the same events.
Yeah.
Just with Sarah. That's Adrian.
I think he would go I know for a fact that Sarah and discuss that.
Then how about going to pick up Brandon's car? How did that come?
Once again, Brandon had asked, and then I don't know if it was coming.
So basically, and help us understand, and so basically, probably the biggest event in all of your lives takes place, the abduction of a small child. And everybody's just back in business, back in Europe.
No, they had done what they did. They took Ontario, and I think that's when we discuss, what, everything. But, that's why we on the same page about what happened. And so that's what I'm told us that we get on the same page, let's do something.
But you didn't tell the authorities that that was the story. Here we are tonight, that's the story. So how did the first story come to you?
There was a story that actually happened.
And who came up with that?
That one of the story that actually happened. I just told you.
So usually when people try to get together to be on the same page, it's so everybody knows what the other person is telling law enforcement.
Yeah, that's what it was. I told them, but that's not what the truth was.
Yeah, so we're wanting to know what the story was that you guys all agreed to tell law enforcement.
No, we didn't know nothing.
Okay. Is that just that, or did you guys actually go into detail, actually have a story, so if you were ever questioned?
That was literally the conversation was going on the same page. We talked about it. There was a question with the detectives, told me about this and that. And that's what the story was.
And where did the truck story come from?
That was right. Yeah, that was, I remember that for a fact. Because I remember there was a bunch of people in the neighborhood.
So you recall, and keep us honest here, that before you guys even leave, we see you leave in the truck. There's two possibilities of scenarios you presented. One is they left before and they came back. And then the second is you have that back in the back of the truck. And Michael possibly
So, I didn't go with them on Sarah and Brandon as a leader. So they had to my business. So, like I said, when I came back, the government And so I closed it. I mean, I was assuming it was closed. But it wasn't like, I went to sit there and didn't like, ask questions or anything. I was still curious. So it was just, and when it happened, all those kinds of stuff, boys in the military, and always carries and stuff with them. And so that's what I'm saying, it's just narrative, because I'm not 100,000% sure they did the transaction military. But I'm also not 1,000% sure that he brought him in his house. I just know that the duffel bag was used somehow in connection with 9/11.
We know that.
I mean, we're also in with somebody other than the come out with us. I mean, so one or two options that we still had, if they duffel bag or being already dealt with them.
So in reality, the last time you saw Michael work, he was dumping on the floor from the couch. How sure that that's what you saw? Sure. Percentage.
99.999.
So you're pretty much 100% positive that that's not.
Yeah.
And you're positive that who was legally in charge during the conversation? Has Sarah talked to him after this?
She's talking with me for I was aware of that conversation. I knew that she had connection. She had talked with
If they had, like, one of these two scenarios, if they had taken him to Brandon's house, what do you think happened?
Brandon could bury him
at his mom's house.
That's Brandon didn't really have a presentation. So,
was Brandon in the house or backyard long enough to bury him when we were there? Is that what happened?
Like I said, I'm not going to give you a definitive answer, but I don't know. I don't know, I guess it was
No way, shape, or form. Okay, what's the other scenario, the one that you want to tear the house is?
No. That was from what my son said. So they're going, trafficking, or like a sellage of, I guess, underage people that were at. I guess he said if you didn't get arrested, he said that was all downtown area. So I didn't, that's as far as I know.
So yeah, I remember that conversation you mentioned.
Yeah.
That night, were they talking about that?
What? They said they were going to go with money.
So Sarah and David, was it more their idea? And what?
I don't know if you guys caught that, but Stacey Wondra said they were looking for underage. Underage. That I didn't hear that at court. So they were looking for underage. I don't know if that means kids, teenagers, what.
Was one. I'm sure it is.
And how much do you think you got?
that's not my criminal. What about Sarah? Does she show you a lot of cash? No, what else is sticking out of purse? First, we're on the wallet. And she never explained it. I asked her about it. She said she was one of the ones who was lying because she can't do not much. Was it? Cash out $1,500. Did you ask her what happened with the kid that was duct taped on the floor? You know, she wouldn't talk about it. So she wouldn't talk about it. Why would she talk about it today? Because I think she's a Bible. And she knows that I know, she knows that I know. And I think at this point I think she knows that she's fucked. Is that when you said on the floor that one has to Oh, when she said it? Yeah. Yeah. What was she crying for? In hopes that I won't testify? When she's not always, you know, because if you're important, you don't, yeah, and you know, there's no point doing a look a lot. Okay, I mean, it's just like, doesn't it feel good to have like this just finally? Now, you know the seriousness of this thing. We still got a lot of work to do. We're not done. There's just so much.
Well, I believe there's still a little bit more information that you gave us tonight, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And so I think that maybe sitting back and rehashing everything in your mind, maybe that we can sit down again and go through everything. So like I said, the only thing I can give them back is my, that's it. And I don't even care what shape he's in or anything, you know. It's just the fact we need to give him back. And I know that even if you did not do this, I know that you know more. And so I need your help.
You can't respond to this. Okay. You don't have far enough. How much better you can. I think you just need to get over that. Just a little bit more. I don't have a specific place that is, I don't know what she does. I don't know that. I don't know where it is. Like I said, there's a very good chance, you know, it's a 50-50 chance to go to Ontario or to I mean, there's only two places that I can see. I don't know. You gotta go over there and again. I'm not even stuffing. I'm not even trying to stuff. I don't have the.
Well, I know that if I got into a vehicle and drove to Kuna and somebody put the duffel bag in the back after witnessing what I witnessed, I would know if Michael was in the back. Okay. And I know that you know if Michael was in the back. But I know that we have to show that, you know, what are you saying? Trust is shared. And so, maybe if I can show you that I'm trying to be truthful and straight up with you, that you will come and help me with this when we finish this case.
I think you believe. I mean, how much do you, am I looking at for time? If you would like us to bring the hospital tomorrow, we can do it. That's not straight out of the mouth.
I will tell you that we will either use you as a witness, if you give us Michael, or we will be looking at you as a suspect. Because there's only two, I mean, and so I feel like you were trying to be honest and straight up with me, and I told you, if you believe me to Michael, I am on your side. 100%, I am on your side.
And that's what I'm saying, I think it's the phone call with Sarah, trying to.
You guys have been together for a long time after Michael's disappearance. And I know that with you guys going through that type of ordeal together, you know where he's at.
That's what I don't remember what Michael is. I can only give you my SDS. That's why I'm being straight with you. I don't know. I don't have this location. I don't have it in. If I had it in, I would throw it at you. I would give it to you.
You would know if Michael went to CUNA or if he went to Ontario.
If I had to lean on one side, I would lean on Ontario side 100%.
Why is that?
Because why feel the need? I mean, Adrian said he needed more when you had human trafficking contacts in Ontario. So why would somebody want to take, in their eyes, valuable? Why would they want to drive somebody 61 miles away, just taking 15 miles, or less than, sorry, about 3 miles? You go to Ontario, that's why I'm saying, I find it really.
See, it's like just when you think he's starting to tell the truth, he doesn't tell the truth. He's still talking about Ontario, CUNA. He's not admitting that Michael was even in the back of the truck when they went to CUNA. He is still playing games with detectives. We went through over 9 hours of this. Over 9 hours. I am going to pause right here. I'll make sure that I keep track of where we are, just because we've almost been here for 3 hours, and I want to make sure that it's not too long that people come back and watch if they dare, because the audio just absolutely sucks and it's very frustrating for me. I thought it would actually be better with the captions, but unfortunately it's not. You're welcome under your scars. I'm trying. This is the best we could do, but I mean, even in the preliminary hearing, it was so hard to hear, so I wasn't expecting too much. I just really thought the captions were going to help. Thank you guys all so much for coming in. Michael Vaughan will get justice, and you know, Stacey Wondra's court appearance is tomorrow. He will plead guilty or not guilty. If he knows where Michael is, maybe he'll make a plea deal. The round table tomorrow night. Purple will be talking about it at the round table. If one of the moderators could put the link in, I'm sure most of you guys know where to go to the round table, but she will be going over what happens tomorrow at Stacey Wondra's hearing. I'm not assuming that the hearing's going to be too long. We'll have to, I'm not sure how that kind of hearing goes. I'm actually going to be listening to it on the replay since I'll be driving at the time that Purple goes live. So, Monkey's Army wants justice for Michael. And in order to get that justice, we need tips, and more tips. This is still an ongoing investigation. Law enforcement is still taking tips and leads, and they need anything and everything that they possibly have. 20,000 plus pages of discovery and evidence, and we can give them more, and that's what we need to do and build this case even stronger than it is. The tip line phone number is 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org, and you can even remain anonymous. 4 suspects here in Michael's case that have been named suspects for the last couple of years, and that's Stacey Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Adrian Lucien, and Brandon Shurtliff. Brandon Shurtliff, I really hope you were watching tonight, and I really hope you heard Juanita talk about what you told detectives about witnessing Sarah and Stacey put Michael somewhere, put the duffel bag somewhere. You cannot escape that truth any longer. The world knows you're involved. You could not have that kind of knowledge without being there, without witnessing. You hear Stacey saying that you were standing there scared. He even believes you're scared because that's why you don't want to talk, because you're afraid to go to prison. But that's exactly what's going to happen to you if you don't take a plea deal. I mean, you're going to go to prison anyway if you take a plea deal, but you're not going to be there as long as the rest of your life, because imagine that. Brandon, you were there. You saw what happened to Michael. Adrian, you were there. You saw what happened to Michael. We know both of you were there. You cannot run and hide. Even if you want to take what Stacey says out of the picture, Juanita Kelleher put you, Brandon, directly in the spotlight. You talk to detectives about things that you saw. That means you have knowledge. That means you were there. And now all of your family's going to know that now, because I'm sure they watch the channel. I'm sure they're here listening, and I'll make sure that they hear it. I will make sure that your family knows you have spoken to detectives and you did see things. You are not going to run and hide. You are not going to keep deflecting from the fact that you have had nothing to do with this. And the same goes for you, Adrian. People know things. Things are going to even come out more when Stacey Wondra's trial gets here. Way more. 20,000 pages of discovery. How much of that is going to include you, Brandon, and you, Adrian? It's time to stop running. It's time to talk to law enforcement. It's time to give Michael back. We will not stop. We're Monkey's Army. We're not going to quit. We're here until all 4 of you have been put in prison for what you have done to Michael Joseph Vaughan. You abducted him. You murdered him. You guys put him on the couch. You laid him on his back in the living room floor. You duct taped a 5-year-old little boy, put him in a duffel bag, and piled clothes on top of him. Stacey Wondra even says he was given insulin. Then you put him in the bed of a truck and you drove him to Cuna. The district attorney during closing argument said that Michael was left outside all night. And if that's not what happened, Michael was left in a duffel bag in the house, Brandon, because you took him in the house, or you sat him outside. Stop playing games. All of you took the life of a 5-year-old little boy. And we want justice. And the Vaughan family deserves to have him home. Brandon, you know where he is. Stop being a coward. It's time. I'm not going to stop pressuring these suspects. I don't care if people think that I bully. I don't care what people think about what I say. All I can imagine is what happened to Michael. I will not stop until justice is served. I will not. I am standing next to the Vaughan family until the very, very end. It's time to call in a tip, please. Somebody please call in a tip. 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Imagine if this was your son or your grandson, your brother, your nephew. Imagine if this was someone in your family suffering. You would want somebody to call in that tip, and that's what we're asking you to do. Call in a tip. It's not hard to pick up the phone. It's not hard to do an email. We want Michael home, and we want this case even stronger than it already is. 208-642-6006 or email findmichael@fruitland.org. Bring Michael home. Be Michael's hero. Be the Vaughan family's hero and do the right thing. If you see something, you say something. No one would ever wish this on their worst enemy, and the Vaughan family has gone through so much. I know everybody here in chat is ready to fight. Mama's ready to fight. Daddy's ready to fight. The whole family, we're going to be here forever. BRANDI says to Brandon Shurtliff, where's Michael Joseph Vaughan? Adrian Lucian, where's Michael Joseph Vaughan? We will never stop. And we won't. We will never stop. I'm so tired of hearing these suspects want attention or want sympathy or craving, what is the word I'm even looking for? I don't even know. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of all four of them. It's disgusting. When you hear the facts in this case, when you hear Juanita Kelleher talk about things that Brandon has said, and then you think about everything that Brandon has said, the way he's deflected, the way he has tried so hard to lie about being there, he can't. Brandon, you get nervous, you get flustered, you make huge, big mistakes. And now you've already told law enforcement you were there and that you saw things. On top of all of your big mistakes that you have made. Talking to me, talking on my panel, everything you use can and will be used against you in the court of law. And when you got up on my panel, they will be able to use that against you in court. You slipped up many, many, many times. Do not think that the case going to be built on you is any less strong than Stacey Wondra's. Even Sarah Wondra's probable cause affidavit has more in it than Stacey's. You called Sarah to verify your story. You spoke with Stacey on the phone to come up with a plan to go take your car from Cuna and drive it back to Fruitland and use it as your alibi. Your mom said you avoided having conversations with the police and that you called Sarah to verify. Your mother. And there is more to come, Brandon. Way more to come. I really, really hope you're listening. Brandy says, thank you, everyone, to continue to support Michael. These monsters will answer to what they have done. We will bring Michael home. I meant it when I said I was coming for you, Brandon and Adrian. And you've got one pissed off mama here that's never going to stop with an army behind her. So you've got a lot of people to deal with. And like Chris Madonna says, let's just put Brandy in a room with any of you for 5 minutes. I believe she could take you. Brandy, we love you. We're sorry you guys are going through all of the things. And, we're always praying. Thank you guys all for being here, for supporting the Vaughan family. Share, 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 share. I cannot apologize enough for the video, not being able to hear, caption not helping. It is very, very frustrating for me, but it was very frustrating for us in the courthouse for 9.5 hours too. So I love you guys. Thank you all for being here. Have a great, wonderful rest of your night. I will be back Monday or Tuesday. We're going to do some Chiron stuff next week, and we'll continue. It will only be a short live on Chiron. And then we're also going to continue doing Stacey Wondra. I don't know what order I'm going to be going in, but I hope you guys join me for Chiron's live also. Thank you guys so much for coming in.